全てを飲み込みひた走るトリックスター。
I wanted classical music though, but I wanted it in a modern way, in a modern sort of new genre of, technology, modern day, bringing it into the future, contemporary. Oh, to this day was the favourite between all three of us, one of the big favourites.
We knew what we wanted to play. We had in mind Sibelius's Karelia Suite. He knew what all these things were. It was just pieces of music we all recognised. He was a little dubious because he was very jazz oriented,
It's the album that will be played long after I've departed this mortal coil. There will always be people who will look back in history as to what might influence them, what they can learn from, and Tarkus will be one of those albums.
エマーソン・レイク&パーマーが生み出した音の一大モニュメント。タルカスはどのように生まれたのか。1970年、一つのバンドがイギリスに誕生した。エマーソン・レイク&パーマー。デビューライブから人々を熱狂させ、彼らは一躍人気バンドとなる。メンバーは元ナイスのキース・エマーソン。元アトミック・ルースターのカール・パーマー。そして元キング・クリムゾンのグレッグ・レイク。結成前から別々のバンドで活躍していた人気プレイヤーの3人だ。彼らは類のない驚異的なテクニックと凄まじいパフォーマンスでオーディエンスを虜にする一方、壮大なクラシックから軽快なジャズやロックンロール、果ては現代音楽まで幅広い要素を取り入れ、ジャンルを超えたまさにプログレッシブなサウンドを作り上げた。そんな彼らがデビュー後2作目のアルバムで生み出したのがタルカスだ。レコードの A 面全てにわたりインストゥルメンタルとボーカルのある 計7つのパートが交互に展開。
Preacher said a prayer, save every single hair on his head. He's dead. The minister of hate had just arrived too late to be spared. Who cared? Clear the battlefield and let me see all the profit from our victory.
高密度でアグレッシブなこの作品は ELP の代表作であると同時にプログレッシブロックの一つの典型と呼べるかもしれない。3人のメンバーのうちキース・エマーソンとグレッグ・レイクは2016年に相次いで死去。ただ一人残るメンバーカール・パーマーにタルカスに連なるバンドの歩みを語ってもらった。
If you had to design two people to play together, let's call them bookends. They were absolute bookends. We would argue deeply and sincerely and aggressively over music, over 4 bars of music. 4 bars, we would argue for 4 years. That's what it was like. But it was lovely because it was kind of unique, you know.
カールにとっての ELP サウンドとは何か。彼自身が考えるバンドの代表作を聞いてみた。
I would say Pictures at an Exhibition, and I would say Tarkus, definitely for 2, because that was monumental. After that, I would probably say, though it wasn't written by us, and it was on the Brain Salad Surgery album, I would say the piece Toccata by Ginastera. It's so dirty and grimy. It definitely was very much us. On our bad days, you know, when everybody was angry, that piece of music would sum up ELP to me, you know, and I just loved it for that.
バンドの大きな特徴であるロック以外の音楽の導入は主にキースとカールの思考によるものだという。カールはオーディションでキースたちに出会った時の様子をこう振り返る。
It was off Soho Square. It was a little room. I walked in, my drums were set up, and Keith was already playing piano. So we started playing some jazz together, and because I couldn't believe how good he was. And that was it. Then I started talking to Keith about his record collection, which was identical to mine. Not only the jazz, but the classical stuff, you know, Shostakovich, the Fifth Symphony, you know, Bartok. I said, I can't believe that. And his first jazz album was the same as mine, Time Out by Dave Brubeck. I said, wow. He said, wow, that's really interesting.
クラシックやジャズに深く通じていた2人だったからこそ ELP の懐の深い音楽が成り立った。実はそのルーツはキース・エマーソンが以前に組んでいたバンドナイスに遡る。キースはナイスの音楽をさらに突き詰めるために ELP を結成したものと考えられている。リー・ジャクソンはナイスのボーカル兼ベースプレイヤー。キースとはナイスの前にも同じバンドでプレーしていた古い仲間だ。リーは現在ロンドンの北ノーサンプトンという町に住み 時折地元のパブでステージに立っている。
We were bloody good and original, and nobody else was doing anything like what we were doing, you know.
Which is?
It's what Emerson dreamt up, you know. The rest, me and Brian, we just ploughed along, giving them a footprint to stand in, you know, and a bed to sit on, you know, made it possible and backed them the best we could, you know.
But eventually Keith would leave.
Yeah.
Why do you think he wanted to leave?
I know exactly why it was. I didn't sing as well as other people. When he was still in the VIPs and I was in a little house band in the Cromwell Club, we could take these influences and broaden them out, you know. We started playing together. We realized if we ever got a chance, we were playing what became Rondo, one of the nicest iconic tunes, and America. And way before the first album. We were still a year into Gary Farr and the T-Bones before.
ロンドは後に ELP のライブでもよく演奏されたナイス時代の人気曲の一つ。この曲はキースが好きだった5拍子のジャズをアレンジしたものだ。
The B-side of a Brubeck single, Take Five. He had a hit single with that, and on the back was Blue Rondo a la Turk, which was so we had an idea and said, you know, we could take that out of 5/4 and put it into 4/4. And I said, I'll do this galloping horse bass line, which I'd nicked off in the Eisenstein, yeah, the Eisenstein movie. Alexander Nevsky, there's a big cavalry charge. And Rondo was born.
ナイスは結成当時ギタリストのいる4人編成のバンドだった。セカンドアルバムのレコーディング中にギタリストのデビッド・オリストがドラッグ依存を理由に脱退。一時は後にイエスに加わるスティーブ・ハウをオーディションしメンバーに迎える計画もあった。
We wanted, but Steve Howe was he had his own band called Bodast, I think it was called. And then I know he was negotiating with Yes. And I don't think he fancied his chances against Keith Emerson. The only person I think that could ever held their own against Keith Emerson, in fact he did, was Jimi Hendrix. Nothing against Steve, but if you were with Keith Emerson, you had to be a bloody amazing guitarist. Keith loved it. He said that, he says, I know we're looking for a guitarist, I'll be quite happy to do it on my own. And me and Brian both said, so would we, you know.
ナイスから ELP に引き継がれたトリオ編成についてもう一人のミュージシャンが語ってくれた。キース・エマーソンと並ぶ人気キーボード奏者でキースとも親しかったリック・ウェイクマンだ。
The thing that I loved about ELP was no guitar player. I loved that, and I did talk to Keith about it. He said the moment you get a guitar player in, he said I'd never be heard. He said guitar players take it, and I said you're absolutely right. He said so it was always going to be that trio. to work. What Keith did do, which was fantastic, was he brought more than anybody else at the time the Moog to the forefront.
独特の音色を持つモーグシンセサイザー。キースは当時まだ開発中で不安定だったこのモーグを使いこなし ELP のサウンドを斬新でユニークなものにした。
We talked about how the Moog synthesizer gave keyboard players, especially if you had some technique and some solo ability, a whole new lease of life. Because up until the Moog came along, it was hard to be heard. And then if you came to do a solo, everybody had to go right down, and the drummer would go from that to, and the guitar could go, and the guitarist, all smug, would go, oh, he's having a little solo, isn't that sweet? I hated it. It was all, and then suddenly along came the Moog, which would cut through concrete. And I can remember guitarists the first time they heard the Moog. I mean, it was incredible. They hated it, and they were playing loud. So I'd turn the Moog up, and they'd turn up to flat out, and look, I'd just turn up a little bit more, and I'd still be louder. And you could look across and go, and so the Moog played an enormous part in allowing keyboard players to have some virtuosity and to be able to actually express themselves more than just big block calls to try and be heard.
ELP の曲作りはどのようなものだったのか。
You can't get away with it that way.
You can't get away with it. What's all this?
Keith would walk in with some pieces like Trilogy, like complete and finished, and saying, look, I don't know what you guys are going to play. This is what I've got. Can you help me and can come up with something? And then we would. And Greg would come in with a finished piece. Keith was a great writer on his own. Greg was a great writer on his own. Together, really, really good, really good. In actual fact, fantastic. And somebody had to be the referee. Somebody had to guide it. Keith would go too far and Greg would get upset. He couldn't find a melody line, a top line, but Keith would have all these great chords. And so it was good if I stood there and kind of sort of refereed it through as much as what I could, saying, but that's really good, that bit. Why don't you try singing that? Keith, I think it's a bit too elaborate. Just hold back a bit. Let the vocal breathe. Let it come. And he would get it. And of course, because I was there and I was in the band, they would listen to me more than, let's say, somebody else coming in and saying something to them, because they trusted me.
ELP のもう一つの魅力は叙情的で美しいボーカル曲。それらのほとんどはシンガーのグレッグ・レイクが書いたものだ。
He was actually an acoustic guitar player. He wasn't a lead guitar player. He was an acoustic, not a rhythm player, an acoustic. So he would do some finger picking, some cross picking, and that's what he was all about. So he played bass guitar out of necessity, not out of love. And that's a different thing, you know, when you play an instrument. Greg would always come up with the acoustic song. And he would have a verse, he'd have a chorus, middle eight, and then it would need to be arranged. There would need to be music added to it, and possibly a classical adaptation, you know, a theme would be put in. So, for example, the prime example of that would be Lucky Man, where there's this huge Moog solo at the end, which is iconic, which is one of the first times you really hear a portamentum, you know, the woo, all this stuff going up and down. And this was marvellous, right? And this was at the back end of a simple 3/4, almost country and western sounding folk song.
リック・ウェイクマンはタルカスをはじめとする ELP の曲にある構造を見出したという。
Keith's left hand was so important for what they did, whether it be in the style of boogie woogie or whether it be in the style of arpeggio movements. He thought very much about the left hand. I mean, my right hand's stronger than my left hand. Keith's left hand was probably stronger a little bit than his right, although he had a great right hand as well. Keith and I, in fact, were having lunch one day. Somebody came over to our table after they finished, as they were leaving, and said, "Oh, sorry to bother you, Rick and Keith." They said, "Can we ask you a question?" And we went, "Go on then." And they said, "Which one of you do you think is the best?" And I said, "Well, we're completely different. My style is more classically based, and Keith's style is more jazz based. So it's hard. You can't compare like that." And Keith said, "You know what?" He said, "If you take my left hand, Rick's right hand, put it together, then you've got the perfect keyboard player." And he went, "Oh, thank you." So you've got this sort of arc of, or sort of circle of Carl playing with the left hand of Keith, and Greg with the bass playing with the left hand of Keith and the drum, and then you've got Keith's right hand in the middle, or the vocals in the middle. If you take that left hand away, trust me, you wouldn't be listening to ELP as you know them. It would be a completely different sound. So I don't think ELP would have been the success they were had it not been for Keith's left hand.
そんな彼らの結晶としてタルカスは生まれていく。タルカスの誕生について作者のキース・エマーソンはいくつかの言葉を残している。日本人ピアニスト黒田明によるタルカスのカバー。この作品に寄せてキースはタルカス制作時に大きな影響を受けていた作曲家の名前を挙げている。 ELP の曲「トッカータ」のオリジナルを書いたアルベルト・ヒナステラだ。さらにキースの自伝にもタルカス誕生にまつわる一節が登場する。キースとカールは普段から互いのリズム感を競い合っていた。ある時カールが一つのパターンをキースに聞かせたのだ。
I had a 5/4 drum riff, or you could count it in 10/8, depends how you want to play it. And I said to Keith, "Here's this. Listen to this pattern. Here are the accents. If the melody could follow the accents, then we might have something here. It's a bit different." So I wrote out the drum line This is the rhythm. These are the accents that the melody should follow. What do you think? So he took it away and we got Tarkus started.
キースはカールの叩いた5拍子のリズムと温めていた左手のオスティナートを組み合わせタルカスのモチーフを生み出した。
Keith had the same jazz album that I had. My very first jazz album was his. It's called Time Out. On there was a track by Paul Desmond called Take 5. And we were both heavily influenced by the fact that these guys were writing in 5s and 10s. We thought, that's interesting, It's a bit more intellectual, actually, than straight 4. So, Keith and I would automatically be on the same page. So it was a bit harder for Greg to come in.
キースは出来かけのタルカスをグレッグにも披露した。その時のことを当人たちは後にこう回想している。
And there was silence after I'd finished it. I turned around and I said to, what do you think? And he said, well, he took another draw on his cigarette, blew a voluminous cloud into the ceiling and said, he said, I think if you want to play that sort of stuff, I suggest you play it on your solo album.
It was a loop, and it just went round and over this loop of 5/4. And I thought that from a conceptual point of view, it didn't really offer a lot. For me as a singer, or a conceptualist, to build on or to get round.
Greg didn't want to record Tarkus. He said it's just off the Richter scale. Why are we playing in these weird time changes and things? And it's too strange. I said, no, it's not. I said, it's 5 instead of 4, but you can count it as 10, and the accents are going to be where the melody... No, I don't think this is going to be for me, guys. And then I said to Keith, let's just keep working on this, or you keep working on the melody and what you can put there, and let's just hold on. And when it's got a bit further, let's play it to him again, or you play it to him on your own, trying to bond them two.
キースはタルカスの可能性をグレッグに力説。結局レコーディングの準備も進んでいたため、3人はスタジオに入り、この曲を試すことになった。
Basically, he just wanted to keep hearing more, Greg. I forget what was actually said to him at the time, but by the time we got to Stones of Years and Keith played the chords, played that kind of stuff, he got that. He said, well, that's a very pretty song. I could definitely write a top line, a melody. So we said, well, let's write that song, let's put that song, and then we'll join it together. Try it. So that's how it carried on. Once that was done, we were through. He was in. There was no problem. He wasn't going to question anything else.
Has the dawn ever seen your eyes? Have the days made you so unwise? Realize you are.
タルカスのレコーディングはロンドンのアドビジョンスタジオで行われ、エンジニアはイエスの作品でも知られるエディ・オフォードが担当した。
Eddie Offord was the engineer, stroke really producing it with us. We used Greg as the centre man because we wanted to funnel all of the requests through one person so the guys didn't get confused, like Eddie and his tape operator, so they knew. And that was recorded on a multi-track 2-inch tape of the days. And it has 17 edits on it. Right, because we couldn't play the full 15 minutes without one of us making a mistake. Probably always me, because I'm always trying, but... So we would say, let's record to that section, stop, have a listen. If it's right, we'll carry on.
こうして、タルカスは誕生した。 バンドは80年に解散の後、91年からの一時期再結成。メンバーはその後別々の道を歩んでいる。ELP が1973年に設立したレーベルマンティコア。バンドと苦楽を共にしたスタッフたちにメンバーのことを聞いてみた。スチュワート・ヤングは ELP のマネージャー。
I remember that at most of those meetings, most vociferous of them was Greg. Maybe the second was Carl. Carl was quite into the business, but Keith never said anything at all, basically. And then one day I saw he was making notes like this. And then the other guys left, and he was sitting there, and he said, "Let's go for a drink." I said, "Yeah, okay." I said, "Well, I was very impressed that you were making notes at this meeting." He said, "Do you want to see them?" I said, "Sure." So he handed me the paper, and he'd been writing music. So it was all crotchets and quavers and all this stuff, and this kind of tells you the way the bands were like that. This, Keith was all about music, and Greg he had this huge personality. When he went into a room, he was always the focus of attention. He had an incredible smile, he was very charismatic, and he was very enthusiastic, he was very bright, and he had this voice like a choir boy, very straight voice. Carl held it all together, and it was quite interesting because when Carl and Keith, they locked when they were playing together. They were a lock, and Carl wasn't playing just normal stuff because of his jazz influences, and it was very exciting in the early days.
もう一人、アンドリュー・レーンは ELP のツアーマネージャー。共通のバイクの趣味からキースとは特に親しかった。
Keith's relationship with the other two wasn't always the best. It wasn't a friendship relationship between the three of them. It was very professional, and so often Greg would say, "Andrew, you've got to get Keith to do this." So I would be the one then sit with Keith and in between talk about bikes or diving. We both loved scuba diving, and a real memory of Keith one day saying to me, "I wish it was the Keith Emerson band." He said, "The biggest mistake I made, making it Emerson, Lake and Palmer," that he wished it was not a democracy, that he ran the band and controlled it, and that he could tell this one do that, this one do that. Who knows what it would have been like if that had been the case.
あの3人だったからこそ生まれたのがタルカスだ。今も意欲的なカバーの試みが後を絶たない。2016年、キースは自ら命を絶った。病気で手が思うように動かなくなったことを苦にしてのことと考えられている。
You have to admire that dedication, passion, belief, and desire and that's what he wanted. The negative side is the perfectionism and playing amazing gigs, the audience applauding, everyone's lighting their lighters, Keith coming into the dressing room, hand in the head, oh, terrible, I did this, I did that. I said, Keith, no, apart from you, I don't care, I could have done it better. I said, listen to them out there, screaming for more.
In fact, quite some time before he died, I said, you know, Keith, there is so much more you can do. Okay, if the playing side has, you know, disappeared, you can still write music, you can still compose, you can still go to music colleges, you can impart your fantastic knowledge to youngsters. They'd love that. There is still a massive role for you to play. But he wanted to play.
So it's a marvellous band, really, absolutely marvellous. You know, I miss it deeply, you know. The music, as I say, I'm playing with my own group and I can see the third generation there, and we played in a different way, instrumentally with guitars and things, because you can these days, because they're so good, the guys. So I've still got the music, I just haven't got the people, you know.
音楽の豊かな鉱脈から3人が生んだ奇怪なクリーチャー。大地を揺るがし、どこまで行くのか。エマーソン・レイク&パーマー、タルカス。
Dawn ever seen your eyes? Have the days made you so unwise? Realize you are. Had you talked to the winds of time, then you'd know how the waters run, taste of wine. How can you know where you fine.